In this video, we're going to be talking about why entrepreneurs sabotage and how to stop it. Now, I want to begin by telling my own story. So when I started as an entrepreneur, launching out into my business journey, I had really been an employee for most of my working life. I tried a couple of little projects, tried a couple of little businesses, but when I first really went all in on my business, I was shit scared. Because stepping into a world where I was totally responsible for my income was something that was so unfamiliar to me, and so much cognitive dissonance to what I'd been used to, that I went through a very, very painful process of identity adjustment, right? And as I started to get some wins, I started to feel like something was wrong. I started to feel like I was in the wrong place, that I was an imposter, okay? I started to feel like this temporary success didn't actually belong to me. And it's kind of like if you have an elastic band and you put one end of the band on one finger, and you put one end of the band on the other finger, and you pull the band. You can get so far, but eventually that band just wants to snap back to its original position. And so I found that every time I'd get a big success, I'd soon have a big crash. I would soon fall back to my original starting point and even lower. I would fall into this pit of depression because my inner thermostat, my ego, my identity had not adjusted for this level of success. And this is something that I see so many entrepreneurs struggling with. And they get these wins and then they fall apart. They fall into a pit of despair. I've literally watched friends over the years go through this exact process, and it's like win, disaster, win, disaster. So why is that? And how do you break that horrible, vicious cycle that entrepreneurs seem to go through? Because it doesn't have to be like that. You don't have to go through this drama constantly as an entrepreneur. And so after many years of struggling with this, I discovered that the problem was with my identity. The problem was with my self-concept. Who I saw when I looked into the mirror. My self-concept. And what I realized was that I would have these crashes every time I had a success. And as I was having the success, I realized, as I was starting to climb this wave of success, I started to feel a bit of panic. I started to feel like to maintain this success, this peak, I had to work harder. I had to go faster. I had to outrun my shitty self-concept. I had to outwork the mirror. And this is what happens when you see yourself as still just a brokey or a wagey or a, employee mindset or whatever other label you want to put on this. This applies universally to any time that you're trying to break out of an old identity. Until this self-concept changes, you will snap back to your original position just like an elastic band. And you'll feel that anxiety anytime you start to have a win. Anytime life starts to improve, this thermostat in your brain, your ego is like, this isn't right. This shouldn't be happening. This isn't what I'm used to. I'm used to things going wrong or pain, or I'm used to not having freedom. It's that old story, right? And so how do you break out of this once and for all? So you never have to go back to those pits. You don't have to go back and start all over again and again and again. There is a way out of this. Now, the way out of this problem is actually internal. It's not through going and investing more money with a coach, with a better mentor, with another program. It's not trying a new business. It's not trying a new business strategy. It's not learning more. It's not reading more books. It's not subscribing to more podcasts and getting more advice. It's none of that stuff, because that's all external. It's all in the external world when the problem is in the internal. It's in the self-concept. So to change this, we need to draw on something called the law of assumption. This is the most powerful force in the universe. You see, we live in a mental universe. We live in a universe which is based on thought, on ideas. Everything in our physical realm comes from an idea. Physical reality is made out of information. Okay? Quantum science understands this, that everything we see, everything that we can touch, hear, taste, smell, it's all energy vibrating at a particular frequency, and depending on what frequency it is, it takes on a different form in this physical world. It's all information. And so to use the law of assumption so that you can break out of this pattern of sabotage, you need to assume that you are what you want to be. You need to assume that you are what you want to be. And this assumption is like a seed. It's like an idea that you drop deep into your subconscious. It's not just some superficial concept. It's a repatterning of your identity. And so to make this seed go all the way down into the deepest part of your subconscious for the most rapid transformation, you need to feel the reality of who you want to be right now. You see, what most people are doing to try and succeed is they're looking into the future and they're giving themselves this idea that things are going to change in the future. But the problem with that is that there is no future. There's only a continuous now. And so to actually make this work, you need to live in the feeling that it is real in the present moment. And you need to so saturate yourself with the feeling that it is real right now that it takes over your entire perception. This is magic. This is literally what the ancients described as magic. And using this same principle, they were able to work miracles, perform magic, do supernatural acts, perform acts of healing, perform acts of instant manifestation. You see, because once you've tapped in deeply enough to this law of assumption and you practice it on such a deep level that the external world no longer dictates to you how you feel, you have now reversed this relationship between the world and yourself, where before the world was dictating how you feel, and now how you feel is dictating what appears in the world. This is the most powerful force in the universe. Once you get a handle of this, once you understand this, right? Now let's bring it back to entrepreneurs. Let's bring it back to you with your business, which you're starting or have been running for some time now, dealing with these frustrations of occasional success followed by repeated failure, big success for a period of time, and then that same cycle of no sales, no customers, and depression. How do we change that now? What you need to do is plant a seed of assumption. And the way you do this is you sit and you come up with an image of yourself succeeding. And not just succeeding, but being in a place where that success is sustained. You come up with a mental movie which implies that you have been successful for ages, and that's not going to change. So what would that look like? Well, for example, it could be you imagining yourself in your dream home, looking out over the ocean, surrounded with beautiful things, and kicking back with your favorite drink and just feeling connected to your home, to your surroundings, to your family who are there with you, maybe some friends. And feeling that connection and feeling that groundedness of being in a place of sustained success. Because there's a completely different feeling when you've been sustaining success, when success has become who you are, compared to a temporary win, a spike. They're completely different things. So you've got to get super clear in your imagination with this seed about what that would look like for you if you had now become the person who is successful by default. Once you're successful by default, you'll no longer be working against an inner self-image that tells you you're something different, that tells you you're not good enough, that tells you you have to struggle and try and work and hustle. You see, this hustle culture BS is based on the idea that you're not worthy of success. That's why they tell you to hustle, because they are preying on your poor self-image, on these ideas that you've accepted about yourself, that success isn't easy, that it has to be hard, that it involves struggle and sacrifice. You've accepted those ideas, right? But they're not true. Some people get success easily because they realize it's an inner game. So come up with this image and begin to soak in this image. Begin to feel that this image is taking over your entire body. Feel it from the top of your head to the tips of your toes, and just sit and marinate in that atmosphere of success. And what's going to happen is that's going to crowd out your old identity. You see, when a new plant species comes in and takes over in a forest or in a natural ecosystem, it dominates the other species not by killing them. That's not really how the plant world operates. It dominates the other plant species by crowding them out. So let's say you've got this particular tree moving into a new habitat and replacing these other species. That tree isn't going to go around choking and burning and slashing these other trees. It's just going to quietly move in and begin to fill the environment with itself. And that way, it's going to take over that whole forest and create a new ecosystem. And that's how you change your identity. You begin to sit in this new picture day after day. And the speed at which you can manifest this reality is only dependent on the intensity and depth that you practice this with. The more you commit to it, the more time you put into being, feeling that you are that now, the faster your external reality will mirror that automatically. The right people will come to you, the right opportunities will come to you. People will want to buy your stuff because they're vibing with this new vibration you're putting out of sustained success. It's your identity, it's your new reality. So I hope that clarifies things for you. If you want a very powerful exercise that I've developed to take you into this imagined scene, because I know this can be a challenge. There's a lot of mental chatter that happens. This is why meditation is so important. But I've developed a specific process which will take you directly into your desired reality, so you can have perfect clarity on that scene. If you'd like to get that, click the link below. It's going to take you to that exercise. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one.